Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Stargirl Season 3, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 4 for this season, otherwise entitled The Evidence. But of course, before we get into anything else, let's actually watch that trailer.
Cameron?
Renee,
Let me help you.
you can't help me.
I can.
You can't.
It's okay.
So last episode was a pretty, interesting episode. Had that big action scene which everyone seemed to enjoy in the supermarket, but also it really sort of made you wonder what the hell is going on with this murder mystery, because in the previous episode we'd cancelled out the shade potentially, and it was in this episode we cancelled out the Crocs, and those were the two parties that had sort of interacted with the gambler firsthand and that we'd seen on screen. So everything else is now a mystery and hidden. Now, of course, towards the end of last episode, we did see Sylvester head out on his own to the crime scene where the gambler was killed, and he's attacked by something mysterious, similar to what we saw with the gambler. He was checking out the surveillance, cameras, and all of a sudden he's attacked by something off screen. With this one, Sylvester's attacked by something that seemed to be incredibly big and large. It'd make you think it's Grundy, but apparently Grundy is ruled out as a potential suspect as well. So what's going on? With the only thing that's really going to be playing through, at least last episode and this episode, being the fact that Cindy has a laptop and is leaking out information from the gambler's laptop anonymously to Beth, which then plays its way into the JSA. So what's her motive? We'll discuss it later in this video most likely, but that's also a point of interest. But of course, before we get into the actual breakdown of the trailer, we will quickly, go over the synopsis, which we'll also talk about for this episode, because we always do that. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, theories, predictions, expectations for this episode, general opinions. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to show your support and everything like that, and looking forward to this episode, want to drop a like on the video to do all that. After one of Sylvester's plans results in an unexpected outcome, Pat calls upon an old friend for help. Meanwhile, Beth uncovers a new suspect in their murder investigation, and Courtney reaches out to Cameron. So the first thing, it's a bit embarrassing, but I do want to apologize for wasting time in my last trailer breakdown on the many faces things for episode 2 when it's many names. It was many names. That was one of those, wow, you really are an idiot type of moments. Now, to defend myself a bit, I did record that video late at night because I was out of the house at the time, but I should have realized at some point that I was tripping out when doing that portion of the video and I was completely wrong and going down the wrong path. And I mean, you can't rewrite history, it happens, so let's just talk about this trailer and upcoming episode. Let's not sit on the past and all that. But really, the entirety of this trailer, all of it, is just around one scene for the most part, which is like last episode's trailer as well. That time focusing around the supermarket fight scene between Starman and the Crocs, and really not much else. But as we can see in this trailer, it is focusing around Cameron and mainly his emotions and his struggle with his emerging powers, with the culmination of the trailer being, and I think will be obviously a big moment in this episode, being when we see Courtney go to touch him in the art room, which he had avoided at the end of last episode, this causing him to have an outburst of his powers much bigger than I thought we were going to get. So, of course, the episode title is The Evidence, that, of course, revolving around the murder mystery, but the B-plot or side story for this episode is going to be what's going on with Cameron by the looks of it, and I guess it makes me curious how much time is spent on this. I don't think you have to spend too much time because we already know Cameron's struggling, but hopefully it's not just like one or two scenes. Hopefully it's like a decent portion of the episode that builds up to him having this outburst. Now, speaking of this outburst, we'll have a brief look at Cameron's look here specifically once he has it. He goes all blue or icy, like we were, used to in season 1 with Icicle, and I guess technically like one episode from last season. But I think the curiosity around Cameron is that in the comics, Icicle Jr., I think he bounces back, back and forth between good and bad. He's not necessarily a straight up bad character and not necessarily a straight up good character. I think he's dabbled in both sides. So I think that's the interesting thing with Cameron going into this portion of his character journey and story and arc and stuff like that. Because the big thing is that we don't know if his grandparents have told him who killed his dad. We don't know that whether that's happened or not. We can just assume that his grandparents have talked to him about his powers and his lineage and his, family history and stuff like that. So he's still interacting with Courtney, and though Courtney wasn't the one to necessarily kill Icicle, that was technically Mike with the car, the grandparents would probably just believe it was, Stargirl, aka Courtney, and the other JSA members that killed his father without naming one person specifically like Mike who actually did it. They'll probably just say it was Courtney. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to see when that comes out and what Cameron's reaction to it is and whether he goes after Courtney, if that even happens. Because we don't know if it's going to be just the powers itself that drive him to, one side of things, whether it's good or bad, or it is going to be his grandparents' influence. I would assume his grandparents do influence it. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't that case. But it's still a wait and see. Now, one thing to mention quickly, because we are talking about Cameron and his powers, and I guess also his grandparents, I did rewatch last episode, episode 3, before making this video, and I must have missed or had like a brain fade for like 3 or 4 seconds towards the end of last episode, because I didn't mention it in my review, I'm pretty sure. Or at least I don't remember doing it. It wasn't in my notes. Because shortly before Sylvester is attacked at the crime scene of the gambler, in the trailer park, we do see Cameron's grandparents quickly rushing, possibly out the door of their house or into some place. And then the next shot, or like shot after that, is Sylvester being attacked at the trailer park. And earlier in the episode, we saw his grandparents looking in the diner window at Sylvester. It was like pretty, blink and you miss it, but they're there looking in the diner window at Sylvester when he's in there like talking to Yolanda and eating his both undercooked and overcooked breakfast, if somehow that's even possible. So yeah, interesting, because they've just been like a thing that's been there, and you just think they're going to play a part in what's going on with Cameron, but I wasn't expecting them to play a part in what's going on with the murder mystery and attacking Sylvester and stuff like that. So yeah, that makes me curious for what's coming next. Now, if we go to the synopsis to, finish the video off, there's a couple of interesting things in there. The first thing is that they talk about Pat turning to an old friend after what, goes down with Sylvester. So who is the old friend? Now, I think maybe like Dr. Midnight maybe could be an option. Maybe like Shining Knight. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's someone completely new. Like, it's going to be an old friend of Pat's, but I think it's also going to be a familiar face to us as well. So I think Dr. Midnight or Shining Knight are two good options. And the fact that we haven't seen Shining Knight since season 1, and Dr. Midnight was up until the end of last season, I think Shining Knight probably fits the old friend sort of label a bit more. And also, I guess he's known Pat for longer. But I think Dr. Midnight or Shining Knight are probably the two best options, just because I don't know if it'd be a completely new character coming in. That's a wait and see, I guess. But those are the two options I think would play into it. I don't know which one probably fits it more. Probably Dr. Midnight, maybe. But then again, maybe it could be Shining Knight. I don't know. But also, Beth uncovers a new suspect in the murder investigation. Now, I'm assuming this is through more, convenient anonymous leaks that are actually from Cindy, like the blackmail intel from last episode about the Crocs. And that just raises the question again, like, what's going on with Cindy? Like, is she just super desperate to solve this case and be a major helping hand? So she's just trying to like pin it on someone that shows any form of evidence that sort of could incriminate them? Or is she trying to cover for someone? I don't think she's trying to cover for herself for the most part, but she potentially is trying to cover for someone, or even if what it was that killed the gambler, she saw it, like I've said before, and she's trying to cover for that. I'm curious to see what's going on with Cindy, because it doesn't seem normal, and I just wonder when we'll find out what's exactly going on with it, because she seems very desperate to get into those other files on the gambler's laptop, and just makes you wonder what's in those files as well. But with the episode title of The Evidence and it appearing that the JSA learns that Sylvester is attacked, I'm guessing that they find some extra evidence that Sylvester would have been hoping to find at the crime scene. But then again, do they think it's suspicious that Sylvester went out on his own to the crime scene to get more, potential evidence without telling anyone else? Like, he could find, convenient evidence that it was evidence that he planted. Like, do they think maybe he was trying to cover something up? I mean, they could, or they maybe find something that's like, well, hold on, can we trust this evidence because Sylvester was here? Maybe he planted it to try and pin it on this person. I mean, it's definitely possible because he went there on his own. Well, at least he thought he was going on there on his own. Then he was attacked by whoever else was there. So yeah, maybe they might think it's just suspicious in general, and maybe not trust him with the case if he comes back to, if he's not dead and he's actually conscious, in later episodes. That's a wait and find out, I guess. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about all the stuff we went over, any thoughts, theories, predictions, expectations for this episode. Always curious to read them. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.